American voters electing Donald Trump as president, President-elect Trump winning important swing states in a shift from what we saw in 2020. Joining us now, we have Andrew Romano. He is a Yahoo News political reporter. And Andrew, you wrote about some of your key takeaways from election night, and one of those being the fact that Trump appears much stronger than he was 4 years ago. Where did we see him make up the most ground?
Yeah, there are a couple places. Well, first of all, I think one striking example of how much stronger he is now than he was 4 years ago are his performances in states that you didn't really expect him to overperform in, right? Places like New York, New Jersey, where I'm from, he did better than any Republican in decades. In Florida, he quintupled, his margin of victory over Joe Biden in this race against Kamala Harris. He won by 13 percentage points. So he's running up these margins in states like Florida. He's cutting into the margins in Democratic states like New York and New Jersey. Illinois, I think we saw overnight as well. And that's because of some shifts we've seen demographically and geographically among voters.
Talk to us more about that. What do we know right now as to who voted for him, especially the people who voted for him in greater numbers than they did before?
Yeah. So geographically, Kamala Harris did about as well as Joe Biden did in urban areas. She did slightly worse, potentially, in suburban areas. And this is all based on early exit polls, so we have to caveat that these numbers are going to shift a little bit. But you can say directionally where there were changes. But the big shift we saw was Trump running up his margin among rural voters. He improved that by 5, 6, 7 percentage points. And these are counties all across swing states like Georgia, North Carolina, where he just built up a rural firewall. 100 votes here, 1,000 votes there. And it was very, very hard for Harris to perform well enough in those late-breaking urban counties and metropolitan areas to overcome that. So that's geographically one area. And then the biggest demographic, again, from the exit polls, so it needs to be caveated, is the shift among Latino voters. Donald Trump did significantly better than any Republican since George W. Bush among Latino voters. If the exit polls are to be believed, he could have won 45% of them. That's up from 32% just 4 years ago. And that is based mostly on a shift among Latino men, where you saw him actually winning that demographic, while Latino women sort of stayed the same.
Andrew, what's your insight, just as you talk about that shift, just why voters voted the way they did this
That's a great
around?
question. I wish I knew. But I think we can't, it might be boring to say, but we can't underestimate the importance of the overall atmospherics of this election, right? Joe Biden has a very low approval rating, 38, 39, 40 percentage points. That never changes. His disapproval rating up 56, 57, 58 percentage points. No incumbent party has won re-election to the White House with numbers like that. The right track, wrong track numbers, similar. Only 26% of Americans think America's on the right track. So Kamala Harris ran a 107-day campaign, but she started in a hole because of those larger forces, and it just wasn't something she could overcome on election night.
Andrew, we know that you were up most of the night blogging over at Yahoo News, so we really appreciate you coming in and breaking down all of this for us. It's great to have your expertise with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.